on digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
Well, first of all, welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. If you want to join in on the conversation, go on YouTube and possibly Twitter. I don't know. Well, the link is down below. Juju Smith-Schuster, who is making his own headlines, he made headlines a few years ago. He said the Browns is the Browns, and they got so mad, and they put it on a billboard, and they were so mad that he said that. And when I was younger, the San Francisco 49ers and I don't even know what city they were in at the time. I think they were in the LA Rams were a big rivalry. And the 49ers this is like late 80s. So they were already an established Super Bowl team, one of the best teams of the decade. And the Rams were this up and coming team, but they suffered a little bit. And, they'd play each other twice a season, and it was a bitter rivalry. And the 49ers beat him one time, and one of their players said, "Same old Rams, same old sorry-ass Rams." Well, that's how I feel about this. I feel we've seen yesterday's game 20 different times. Every single time Cleveland comes into Pittsburgh, except for the playoffs, it's the Steelers dominate, and the Browns look horrible. Is that what you were saying? You're mute.
Was I muted?
Yeah.
Okay. Bentley was heavy breathing, and I was trying not to expose everybody else to that, and forgot I was muted. I went into this game with so many people saying that, we play down to teams that we're supposed to beat. We always play down to the Browns. They brought up the snow game last year, how the Browns, this is their Super Bowl. And so, you kind of go into this game thinking like we should kill them, but are we going to kill them or not? And then I was really glad to hear that the Steelers weren't, for all the trash the Browns talked, the Steelers didn't. Like, they tried to bait Juan Thornhill. How do you feel about going to play your old team and they didn't want you and all this stuff, right? And he kept his mouth zipped. He didn't give him any bulletin board material for the week. I was very pleased, because that's when you start doing that, that's when we have problems.
Is that the first game Juan Thornhill played against the Browns? I think so, because we just got him. So yeah.
He was a Brown last year. Yeah.
That, you know what? That I don't know if I would have that kind of restraint. I don't know.
I think I would definitely, especially if it's the Browns, I feel like I would definitely say something, because I would want to be in the cool kids club in Pittsburgh and talk trash about him. But Myles Garrett, he was a little salty after the game. Did you see he made some comment? They asked him, like, how did it feel or something? He was like, not very good. Like, he was angry.
He was like, they said, how, the Steelers, how does it feel when, the Steelers, they had a big lead, and, they knew that your team would be passing. Yeah. How would it feel if, your team was in a big lead and you knew the other team was passing? How good would it be? He's like, must be nice.
Right. Yeah. I was like, ooh, he's a little bit salty, and he's usually pretty chippy. Even if they lose, he's pretty chippy.
I mean, first of all, I can't blame him, but second of all, I can. He's the guy that demanded a trade because he was sick of losing.
I love it. Sit there and eat your salty cake, because this is what you chose. $40 million over going to another team. You put it out there into the ether. Nobody else was saying it, and you put it out there as the player that you wanted to trade, and then backed off of it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, it's pathetic. So,
He would have
and
gotten paid somewhere else. Maybe not $40 million. I don't know, but I feel like some team would have paid him $40 million.
he just wanted the money. He just went after the money. But I mean, okay, you're on a team that's not doing well. Okay, hey, it happens. You win some, you lose some, whatever. But when you're on a team that just traded your starting quarterback to a division rival,
Bizarre.
another backup quarterback to the Raiders earlier in the season. I can't even keep track of how many damn quarterbacks they have. They are, even for Brown standards, they're a mess.
Yeah, this is wacky. Every day when I'm editing articles, something pops up at the Browns, and I literally, like, the AFC North I know so well, I don't even have to like double check every single piece of information because I know it so well. Browns quarterback situation, I double check it every time an article comes out to make sure I've got the right people because it keeps changing. But who gives your week one starting quarterback to a division rival? It's just, it makes the whole quarterback room didn't make any sense to begin with, and now this really doesn't make any sense. And I always thought Kevin Stefanski was a pretty solid coach. There was other things that were working against him, but it's decisions like that made me think, maybe he's not.
I think Baker Mayfield is evidence that he's not.
Yeah, that's a good point, because boy, Baker is.
That dude could be MVP.
I believe firmly that some players are just not good fits on some teams, right? Yeah. Like, so you might be a really good quarterback and this just isn't your team, and you go somewhere else and you flourish. So I believe that's a real thing. I think there's a possibility that Cleveland just wasn't a good fit for anybody, but not for Baker. And he's doing better now. But yeah, you have to wonder, because he's obviously got the skill that everybody thought he had coming into the league that he didn't seem to display in Cleveland on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, but I think you nailed it with the fit thing, because it's not like Baker went from the Browns to Tampa and became a superstar. He went to Carolina and became the scout team linebacker or something like that. Yeah, then he was with the Rams for a minute. So it's like, that you just got to find your right place.
Yeah.
And he did. So
who was the good fit for the Browns then? Like, that begs the question. If Baker was a perfect match for Tampa, then who is a good fit for the Browns? Because it wasn't Joe Flacco, Baker, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, and I feel bad for poor Dylan Gabriel. Like, I felt bad for him.
Poor guy. Imagine.
Can you imagine being a rookie and having TJ Watt like barreling down on you, or Cam Hayward flying across the line at your head? No.
Various Steelers took their turns beating the crap out of him. It was,
yeah. What do you have?
Even the quarterback, even Jalen Ramsey's like, let me get a couple sacks here.
Yeah, 2 sacks for Jalen Ramsey. The first, did you see him after the game? He's like, this is like a dream come true. He's like playing with TJ Watt. I got 2 sacks for the first time in my career.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in a game with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and I have more sacks than them. What's going on?
I was like, good for you, buddy. Good for you.
But about Myles Garrett, there have been games where he, against the Steelers, where he has been awesome.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of the times he is almost completely invisible, and he was invisible this time. And you got to credit the Steelers. I don't care if they have 7, 8, 9, 15, 17 people on that offensive line. Hey, whatever. It worked.
Yeah, and did you see that PFF gave Garrett a 77.5 overall grade with an 80.2 pass rush grade? I'm like, what?
And like, gave Broderick Jones a horrible grade.
Yeah, and he had a good game. Like, the offensive line looked really good.
The offensive line just keeps looking better and better.
Thank goodness, because I was a little concerned for a minute there that were we going to be talking about like multiple busts, multiple years in a row.
Mm-hmm. It sure looked that way.
It didn't look good, at least, especially for Broderick. Like, you could say like Fautanu needed more time. Frazier needs some more time. Like, they weren't as bad as Broderick Jones was, but it was a little concerning.
Yeah. and they're putting it together. And all those things that were said about the Steelers in the beginning, and they started off bad. The offensive line was horrible, the defense was horrible, and they just got a little bit better every week. They're getting a little bit better. It's like they're just making progress, and it's starting to come together.
I mean, that's really right. Like I said to somebody last week, that's really all you can ask from your team is that they continue to prove. Like it's a rare team that starts off week one like out of the gates, has their stuff together and knows what they're doing, unless you're like the Eagles or the old
Right.
Tom Brady Patriots or, the prior Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, where you bring back primarily all the same people. Everybody knows the plays. Do you know what I mean? You're primarily a veteran squad and they know what they're doing. So other than those teams, yeah, you're going to have some wrinkles to work out those first couple of weeks. And I felt like all we could ask was that they continue to improve. And I think we definitely saw that from them. They didn't get in their head like they did at the end of last season and shut down or start pointing fingers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the people that were pointing fingers are gone. That's why. And I think that's why they're gone, because they were pointing fingers, because they were just had a bad attitude. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, hey, it's all coming together. I think one thing that helped a lot was the defense was, at least for a little bit of the game, finally all healthy.
Yeah.
And now you see what they could do, and
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. You got to hope that they're able to be healthy into the late stretch of the season and into the playoffs. Knock on wood, we make it into the playoffs. That then we're really able to kind of pull something off for once, instead of feels like we limp into the playoffs every year and then get slaughtered. So I hope
Right.
this year that we can have enough players healthy. And I think fans sometimes don't realize that some of these years that we've gone in and lost in the playoffs, I mean, you're working on like some third string guys on defense or something. You got major players hurt that you really count on, and that is a big impact.
Yeah, it just seems like, and other things, not only are you hurt going into the end of the season, but you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a bad offense for like the last 5 years, and you have a bad offense and a good defense, but that good defense is out there so much because the offense is so bad, and it wears down the defense, and then by the end they're not as good. One thing I saw yesterday, now that you have basically 3 really good outside linebackers, they could do a little bit of load management and take some time off. And I mean, really, they might have 4 good outside linebackers if you count Sawyer. So
and it gives them a chance too to put the kind of pressure on offenses where they can't like load everybody up on TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And ignore other players, because you're going to do that, and then Nick Herbig's going to get you, or some. You know what I mean? So now there's so many of them that are good that the offenses can't afford to just let it focus only on TJ.
I can't believe how good Nick Herbig is. That is a surprise that I did not see coming. I thought he was just a specialty guy. It's like, okay, he's good at pass rush. He's getting good at everything. And that's a really nice problem to have. It's like, okay, how are we going to play all these people? But
he's a really hungry player. Like you saw it from him even when he was younger. And then you just had to look at like his size and stuff and wonder if he would be able to turn it into like on-field production. And he really has. I mean, he is something else.
And Alex Highsmith looked like he was shot out of a cannon. This is his first game back from injury.
Yeah. He was ready to go.
I wonder if he's saying, I better step it up, or I got this guy breathing down my neck. I better turn
younger. Look, I love Alex Highsmith. Everybody knows how much I love Alex, but younger, cheaper, healthier. I mean, it starts to get, Alex has had injuries, like the same injury like the past 3 seasons, and it's going to start to come into that conversation. Even if he's good on the field, you can't play, half the season or 2/3 of the season all the time. They need you.
Yeah. The best ability is availability. He's making a lot of money, so
Now, I would love to see them keep him and, like you said, find a way to work all these guys in and make it work. I think continuing something like this would be outstanding. But Herbig's going to want to get paid. I mean, he's showing off, he's auditioning, and he's going to want to get paid, and he's going to deserve to.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. When Derek Harmon missed the first couple games because he was injured, and the defense looked like crap, people say, "Oh, wait till Derek Harmon comes," and I laughed. It's like, how good is this guy? What is he, the combination of Joe Green and Reggie White or something like that? Turns out he might be. He has made a difference, I think, because he's shored up that defensive line, and that was the last weak link.
Yeah, he's made a difference. He's been tremendous. I also think that Keanu Benton doesn't always get all the credit he deserves. Look, when we first got Keanu Benton, you heard Ike Taylor and those guys talking about like he's a dog and he's going to be all these things, and then we definitely weren't seeing that on the field necessarily. But this season, to me, somebody put a bug in his ear. He's learned the system better. He's surrounded by better people. I don't know, but he looks like a different guy.
I think it's just better people, and it just makes everything better.
Yeah.
When they asked when Aaron Rodgers was talking after the game, he made it a point to say, I want to point out how all the work Jalen Ramsey did to play in this game, and Jalen Ramsey was supposed to be out for like a month, and he missed 0 time. He is such a difference. He has made such a difference. He is just flying out there.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah. And, that's something that Aaron Rodgers can definitely understand and respect because, he rehabbed that Achilles faster and better than people are supposed to be able to. I forget what the amount of time was, but, it was some ridiculous amount of time that he shortened his recovery time by doing all of this extra stuff and putting in all the hard work. And so he can certainly appreciate somebody who's able to come back like that. So I was concerned that maybe we were kind of forcing it a little too soon, but that didn't seem to be the case at all.
Right. Yeah. You're afraid that he might come back too soon or something.
Yeah. Well, you can't blame the guys. Do you know what I mean? I'd want to play too, but he looked like if you didn't know he'd been injured, you'd never know he was injured.
Yeah, exactly. On the offense, they finally did a thing that I've been screaming about for 3 years. They threw to Darnell Washington. How are we just now discovering that the giant man who can't be covered should get the ball more?
I don't understand that. I've been saying for 2 years at least that put him in the end zone and throw the ball. Like he's standing up. He's a foot taller than anybody else on the field. I mean, if he just has to jump an inch or two, he'll be good. He doesn't have to jump a lot. Throw him the ball. I can't believe that they haven't utilized him more. Aaron Rodgers talked in the preseason about how much he liked working with Darnell Washington and this connection they were building and all those things. So I expected out of the gates we were going to see more of him. And we saw a little, but not nearly what I expected. And it's finally starting to pick up.
Yeah. Dave says the O-line is decent after making Miles ordinary. Yeah. I just and remember, this is the Browns. I think they drafted second this year, and they traded that pick
to
5 to get, I forget, that defensive lineman.
Yeah.
So they got something to make the defensive line even better. And another thing, I think this was the number 1 defense against the run or something like that. They were running very well against this number 1 defense. So that's impressive.
And, we were struggling with the run blocking. And so, I thought this, because I kept saying that before this Browns game, it was the one thing I was worried about was how good their defense is. You can say whatever they want about the offense being a bunch of schlubs. Their defense is solid. And we beat the Browns with defense 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So they are certainly capable of beating us with defense if we look sloppy like we did in some of these other games.
Yeah.
Mason Graham, that's who it was.
Mason Graham, yeah,
Out of
that's his
Michigan.
name.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the Browns are just,
The Browns are the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns. DK Metcalf is, it's just a joy to watch him play. As soon as he gets the ball, it's like he could just break a wide. He could just score a touchdown from anywhere. It's just awesome to see him.
Do you feel like we have like a real wide receiver? Like and I wasn't even like anti Deontay or anti George Pickens or any of those things. I think George Pickens has a lot of talent, but this felt like watching him play, especially the past 2 weeks, has felt like we really have like a real wide receiver one for the first time in a long time.
Basically, this is for the first time since Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
It definitely feels that way, because even when last year George Pickens was quote unquote wide receiver one, but he was just so unreliable because because of his head. So yeah, it's nice, but what the heck are they going to do with wide receiver two? If they really think Calvin Austin is a dude, so be it.
Yeah.
But the Browns, who are supposed to have this defensive coordinator that's a genius, couldn't figure out that there's only one good wide receiver on the field. Maybe let's double team the guy. No,
Yeah.
I think some other team is going to figure out, hey, let's double team the only good wide receiver they have. And then what are the Steelers going to do?
I don't know. I'm hoping, Calvin Austin can step up, and be that guy when he's playing. But I think that it's going to have to be this, wide receiver 2 by committee type of situation, where you're rotating in all these different guys for different looks. I mean, you have to hope that's what it is, right? Like that there's a plan, and we don't have our heads in our butts like we did last year, where we're like, the offense, the wide receiver room is fine. I'm not worried about it. And they were clearly not fine.
That's the thing. There will come a time when the Steelers are down and they're going to have to, go 4 wide or something like that, like really open it up to try to. What are they going to do then? I don't even know if they have 4 wide receivers. It's like I don't know if this is sustainable. And I mean, Calvin Austin is almost like Highsmith is like, yeah, good dude, but can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and we saw Roman Wilson like finally get on the field for a second, but you still feel like you don't have any idea like what you've really got going on there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's so frustrating. What is going on there?
Yeah.
Is he bad, or is he or they just not feel like playing him? Like,
right. Is he not smart? I mean, last year there was the implication that he couldn't like learn the playbook or whatever it was, right? And so then you feel like, okay, well, he had the whole off season and sat on the bench. I mean, when you're not playing, what do you better be sitting around reading the playbook?
Better learn or something, yeah.
Right, you're getting paid. You better be reading the playbook. So, you had to wonder. And then, so when he came back this year, when this year came around, you thought, well, all right, well, he's going to play now. Like, we'll start to see something from him, almost like you would with a rookie. But that really hasn't even been the case. We haven't seen that much of him at all. And Ben Skoranek had some good games. Do you know what I mean? He had some solid games his first couple of weeks, but then it kind of seemed like we stopped going to him. So it just doesn't feel like we have any kind of like system.
Yeah. Dave says that was a good touchdown catch by Hayward. That and that was, I mean, Hayward almost never plays, and that was just a really cool thing, because he was just scrambling around, and he told Hayward's like, hey, go this way, and they made the connection.
Yeah, and I was glad for him, because he got so much crap about only getting the job because he's Cam's brother and everything else. So
right, he was a victim of something that he had nothing to do with. So,
right.
Yeah. But it seems like Rodgers is developing a little bit of that connection. Like, there was a play where he was scrambling around and he just shoves it to Jalen Warren, who started out in pass protection, and then just he's scrambling around. Let me try to get open and he just threw him the ball and he made a nice little gain. But for some reason, he has the exact opposite of that connection with Freiermuth, and I don't get it. Like I don't know. They're just not on the same wavelength, and I don't know what the heck's going on with Freiermuth.
But that doesn't make you feel like then is the issue? Like, what is that saying about, like, if something keeps happening, you can't look at everybody else. You got to look in the mirror.
Right.
I love Freiermuth. Like, I've been a fan of his since we drafted him. But I'm starting to wonder, is he more of the issue than it's actually the quarterbacks? Because, then Russell Wilson didn't really have a relationship with him, and Justin Fields wasn't really able to establish a connection with him. And so you have to start to wonder, like, what the heck is going on with him? That he's just not playing that much. And then you used to start thinking, well, you paid him all this money and he can't block. And now we're not going to use him to catch the ball. What are we doing? I thought he was going to almost be like our wide receiver 2 this year. Arthur Smith is your offensive coordinator. He loves his tight ends, right? Got Aaron Rodgers. He likes the tight ends. So I really thought, well, he's almost going to be like our wide receiver 2 this year. He can catch a ball. That's the thing he can do.
Yeah, at some point, listen, it hasn't happened for how many years has he been here? It just ain't gonna happen. It's different systems, different quarterbacks. It's all the same thing. It's like he's just never gonna reach this potential, and I don't know. And he's not the greatest blocker.
It ain't me. Like, it's not me.
Yeah. We'll see. When during the offseason, Aaron Rodgers got so much crap, and a little bit of it was deserved with this whole, is he going to come and is he not going to come? And we waited and waited and waited. That was annoying, but he got so much crap, and he got so much crap for what happened in with the Jets, which I think was a little bit deserved. But all those people that are giving him crap and saying he was going to be bad, I don't hear them saying, "Oh, by the way, I was wrong. Aaron Rodgers is good," because he has been awesome so far.
I issued like a public apology on my podcast because I was not happy they were bringing him on board for like a lot of reasons, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers and I are probably never going to be best friends in real life, like that goes without saying. And then I don't like me guys, do you know what I mean? And all of these stories you hear about him were like me, do you know what I mean? Out in Green Bay, then at New York. And so then you have to start to think, well, I don't want this kind of selfish guy. Like, I thought we just got rid of selfish guys on our team. And now we're going to bring in like the king of selfish football players to play. So I was really concerned that the players were going to dislike him, that he was going to be all about himself. And then I said, do you know what? I gave Russell Wilson a chance. So I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers a chance, and we'll see what he does. And I have to say, look, like, again, I'm not going to ever probably be his best friend, but I don't care. He's my quarterback, and he's doing a phenomenal job. Obviously, the players respect him. The coaches respect him. He's surprising. I'm surprised he's not in, like, comeback player of the year conversation.
Right.
I pulled the voting up today, or the Vegas odds up, today to see. And I was surprised his name wasn't on there, because I think he's done a phenomenal job. When everybody said he was leaving the Jets and he was done, he's washed.
Yeah. And I think that was the entire point of him coming here, was because it went so bad in New York that he had to, it's like, I can't leave like this. he had to rehabilitate his image or whatever. But, all those things you said about, I don't know, I don't know, about his attitude. I think those are all valid. I was afraid he was just going to be all about me first. I don't care about the team. I'm just here, whatever. But he has been nothing but gracious he's done nothing but a good teammate. He said all the right things. He's been a perfect fit. And that's like, I did not see that coming.
No, he even talked about like mentoring some of the guys, and he was open in New York. Like, I don't want to mentor people. Do you know what I mean? I thought, like, is this great for Will Howard? Like, don't we want a guy that's going to be willing to help teach this kid the ropes. And yeah, he's been working with Will Howard. He works with the wide receivers. I mean, to me, it's definitely surprised me. I do think that he wanted to salvage his reputation.
Bentley is mad that the Browns lost. I could see every dog being a Cleveland Browns fan. So I would be mad if I was a dog.
Bentley's very fat self should be exhausted. My 3-year-old nephew was here today, and Bentley's favorite game is tug of war. So they have these long snakes, and he usually plays with me or my mom's dog. So, but Ethan, my nephew, got one end of the snake, and Bentley had the other, and Ethan was pulling him around the tile floors while he's hanging onto this snake. I bet he played with him for 3 hours. I don't know how he is still standing up and trying to play right now. He's like that little kid that gets like so buzzed up on sugar that
Yeah.
it's crash. We're done with the podcast. He's just going to collapse.
Right. So now we have a Thursday night game in Cincinnati. I know when I was looking at the schedule, I said, oh, this is an automatic loss. There's no way we're beating Joe Burrow on 4 days rest. Well, Joe Burrow ain't there. So now we have Joe Flacco. I think Tomlin is pretty upset that the Browns traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals right before they were going to play them. And I don't blame them.
I thought that was like the greatest, one of like Tomlin's top 10 greatest things he's ever said today when he said, oh, about Andrew Berry. Oh, he must be smarter than I am because I don't understand the logic. Like, he's like the master of the like little dig. You know what I mean? You're not going to say anything really nasty. You're going to keep it professional, but it's a definite dig.
He was, yeah. I mean, you never hear him talk trash about anyone. And he was clearly pissed. He has great respect for Joe Flacco, and understandably. I mean, Joe Flacco was on all those teams, all those Ravens teams that when they had that great rivalry years ago. And I think it was last year when they played the Colts. It was Joe Flacco that beat him. I remember, what was he say? What did he say that one time? It was like, "Oh God, don't get Anthony Richardson hurt, right? Because then we'll have to play Joe Flacco or something like that."
And he seems to be like a quarterback that historically, we've struggled with a little bit, right? You're right. Didn't he win a Super Bowl with the Ravens? I mean, he was around for some great years. Was he with them when they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I think
he was the quarterback when they won the Super Bowl. Yeah. This is a good point. I forgot about this. Spencer Anderson is the number 6 or possibly number 7, 7th offensive lineman if you count Washington, and it is working very well. When there are all those offensive linemen, they run well, and not only that, but they can also, like, even the play action pass works well from that formation. So yeah, you're not gonna, you can't do that all the time, but hey, it's working.
And I like the idea of seeing anything like new or different sometimes. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be all the time, but I like anything that's changing it up some. And so I think you're, like you said, I agree. I think it's working. And I think when something works, you roll with it and other variations of it.
And today I learned that, because, you might think, oh, well, they say, oh, number 74 is eligible. Like, okay. They might throw to him. He has a basketball background. So he could be Mr. Jump Ball. He could be Mr. He could be another giant man that pulls in the ball or something like that.
You're getting me all excited for the old, like, sneaky Steelers plays of old. I love those trick plays they used to pull out every once in a while. I definitely miss those.
Maybe they're
amazing. That would be amazing.
They're saving it for a special occasion or something like that. I don't know. That'll be in the playoff game when they're
Myles Garrett's head yesterday.
What's that?
I said they should have broken that out and had Spencer Anderson like dunk right over Myles Garrett's head yesterday.
Which, oh, by the way, we're all forgetting the time that Myles Garrett just ripped off the helmet and bashed someone's head with it. We all just forget about that little incident because, and then made a horrible accusation about Mason Rudolph afterwards. So we're just, because he's a good player, we just forget about stuff like that.
I've said it since then though. Like I think there's a lot of professional athletes are interesting characters. You know what I mean? They're unique guys. It takes something in a person to be able to have that kind of dedication. And I'll never take anything away from Myles Garrett as a participant, as an athlete, a rival, any of those things. But I think he's not a great human being. I think that was an awful thing to do. And I just think and on top of that, I think he's kind of, I don't know, maybe his interpersonal skills aren't very good because he's a strange one.
The thing I heard about him is that he's very all about his stats, which
awful during whatever that Hard Knocks. He was awful during Hard Knocks. Like when they would show him, I'm like, I would be so embarrassed. I would cut this out because he was so selfish and me during that show.
I remember they were doing I believe it was a Brown Steelers game one time, and the Steelers just beat him really bad. And he made a point in that Hard Knocks episode to say, I was sick. I had a cold. I had a flu or something like that. Like, bro, shut up.
Yeah.
Let's make excuses.
All about him. And I get that you have to be a little bit like inwardly focused to be able to become that level of an athlete, right? Like that doesn't happen because you're spreading the wealth everywhere else. So I get that there's a level of selfishness involved with becoming a professional athlete, but it doesn't mean you don't have to be a nice person.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that, anytime the Steelers and the Browns get together, it's TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett. Who's better? Well, I mean, TJ Watt definitely had more of an impact this game, but it's just crazy because when you look at the numbers, TJ Watt, like if you look at like the most sacks in the last, 10 years or something like that, TJ Watt is number 1, Myles Garrett's number 2, and there's no one even close. These two guys are basically 2 future Hall of Famers. So comparing them to is it's kind of pointless. Just they're both awesome, and we're seeing them in their prime.
And like, what does that matter, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really mean anything because that's not winning somebody. Like that one player isn't winning somebody a football game, right? Like, does Myles Garrett have an impact on the game? Sure. TJ has an impact on the game, sure. But they play different positions for different teams.
They're not going against each other, folks.
Right. It's not an apples to apples comparison, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's not like TJ Watt's out there blocking for against.
You can compare them. Like if you took they played the Bengals, the same Bengals team, right? Like then maybe you could come up with some comparisons. But when you're playing each other's teams, we have different offenses that they're playing against. One might be better. It's just it's a silly argument.
Yeah. But if they could beat Cincinnati, and the thing that scares me about I mean, on paper they should, but what scares me is how many in a row has Cincinnati lost now? Haven't they lost like 3 or 4 in a row or something like that? When a team loses that many in a row, that scares me.
Yeah, that's a good point. That usually makes me nervous too.
Who is it?
Let's see here. Bentley, you're driving me crazy. Win, lose.
Yeah. So
4 losses.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's that's not ideal.
Hopefully we can hand them number 5. I mean, we beat them. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we should be able to.
If you're the Bengals, the only reason they made this trade was because that other dude was so bad.
Yeah.
And they kind of had to do that because what do you have on this team? Jamar Chase, Higgins. You have this high-powered offense with a dude who basically cannot be a quarterback in the NFL anymore. So you had to do something. You had to get something. So hopefully this is just to make Chase and Higgins happy, and they really don't care about winning, and so be it. Because, I mean, in theory, well, what got Joe Burrow killed? A lousy offensive line. It's not like that offensive line got any better. So, Dave says, quote unquote, beat up Joe Flacco. That could be that could, it might come down to that. It might come down to, a 40-year-old guy with a really bad offensive line. Just might be a bad night for him.
I hope that the defense is like riding high off the win over the Browns. Like that was a really dominant performance by them. And I hope that they feel like, we need to do something similar this week against this Bengals team because the Bengals defense is not very good. So I feel like our offense should be able to handle Trey Hendrickson, who's like the only player they've got, and be able to handle them pretty solidly.
Playing zone D, we might see less of the 13 personnel. We might see more movement. Yeah. I think the excuse Tomlin said for why are you playing, all these tight ends and all this formation was it's like, well, we're playing 4-3 teams and that's what you need. So like, yeah, maybe it is a matchup based thing. Maybe, but the thing is, every time they've played, at least in Cincinnati the past few years, they have just carved up that defense. And heck, they made Kenny Pickett look good for God's sake. So the Cincinnati defense, it doesn't seem like they got any better. And I think Hendrickson might not play because he might be hurt.
They lost last year because of that defense and then didn't bother to do anything to improve the defense in the offseason. I was like, you have to be kidding me. You had like hands down the best offense in the NFL last year. It was ridiculous. And then you don't go, man, we'd have won a Super Bowl if only we had a defense.
Yeah. And they're like, well, do we get a defense or do we pay our backup our second wide receiver? Like, oh, we'll pay. I mean, what are they paying Joe Burrow? Like, 40-50 million a year.
Those three players. I mean, and I know wide receivers are making a lot of money. I get it, quarterbacks, but you can't have everybody making that much money.
Right.
Because then they pull together some old, practice squad has-beens that are like 37 and, put them on their defense and think that Joe Burrow is going to be able to just go into a shootout situation with every team. And it's just not the case.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. And then, they just had a bye. They just came off the bye. And then with this Thursday night game, it's kind of like a mini bye. You get 10 days off. So, I mean, you just win this game. And they win this game. My goodness. I know it's early, but gosh, they look like they're such in the driver's seat to win the division. Who saw that the entire rest of the AFC North would fall apart?
Definitely did not. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, they have really the Ravens. It's shocking. It's just absolutely shocking. I mean, I expected. You can't predict Joe Burrow is going to get hurt, right? And that's a season-ending kind of situation for your team. So you couldn't have foreseen that coming, but you knew that their defense wasn't going to get any better. So I figured, all right, they'll just look the same as they did last year. And, we figured the Browns weren't going to be great. We knew they were in a little bit of trouble, but I expected a lot from the Ravens this year, possibly even going all the way to the Super Bowl. And man, what a crushing blow to that team. As a rival fan, I'm here for it, but on the level of it being your team, we've had those seasons and that's terrible.
Yeah. You hate to see it, but you also love to see it. But I mean, it's still early. They could, the Ravens have a bye, and then they'll get Lamar Jackson back. Yeah. And Lamar Jackson might just say, "Hey, I'm gonna just I don't care if we win every game 45-44. I'm gonna just put this team on my back." And he has the capability of doing that.
And I think that's a real possibility. I mean, they don't have to do much to make the playoffs. At this point, if they can win out the majority of their end of their season, and even if they squeak in as a wild card, I don't think they'll win the division. But even if they squeak in as a wild card, I mean, crazier things have happened. They had a chance. They have a shot to make a real. If they have the flip side happen, so they're all beat up in the beginning of the season, but they're all healthy at the end in the postseason, they could be really dangerous.
Yeah, it's still early, but stack those wins when you can, and
that's why we can't afford to drop this Thursday night game. We just cannot. We have to be able to continue to advance, especially in the division, and just like you said, stack the wins where we can, because we're going to have games we aren't successful in.
Not every game is going to be easy. So when you get an easy game, take advantage of it. What is that? Who are they playing after the Packers? The Packers are on Sunday night. That's going to be tough. And then the Colts, who are suddenly awesome, are after that.
Yeah.
And then the Chargers, who are good. Ooh, so they got
it's
three
tough
games in a row.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got to win these games. You know what I mean? It's what we were trying to do last year. That end of season schedule wasn't reasonable.
Right. That was ridiculous. Yeah. All right. We will see. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. We are on to Cincinnati. Hey, I'll see you.
Lord.